Hi everyone, this is Amy from the Helms Academy, and today we're doing our Math Roundtable recap from May 28th, 2020. Come along. Alright, so let's start by reminding ourselves what the steps are to solving a word problem. The first thing we want to do is highlight or underline or circle the most important information. So look for numbers that stand out, any variables that we might have, and any clues to what we should include in the final answer. You'll want to determine which operations are needed. So do we need to multiply, to divide, to add, or subtract? Do we need to create a proportion or an equation? Think about those things, and then we'll start to organize our important information within that structure. And that's how we get to step 3. We write out the problem using numbers and operations. So it becomes a number problem rather than a word problem. And then with that information, we can solve. Let's take a look at our first word problem. It says, Kevin burns 500 calories per hour bicycling. How long will he have to ride to burn 750 calories? All right, so I'm going to pull out some of the key numbers here. I see 500 calories and I see 750 calories. And then I also see 1 hour bicycling because in 1 hour he gets 500 calories. And I also see an unknown there, like how long, how many hours will he need to get to that 750 calorie mark? So to solve this problem, I'm going to set up a proportion. My first side will be the number of calories with the number of hours. So we know 500 calories goes with 1 hour. Now I'm going to put an equal sign in the middle, and my other side will be the number of calories, which we know, 750, and then our variable, because we don't know how many hours that will take. So I'll put an X there. So what I have to do to get the answer is cross multiply. So that means I multiply the 500 with the X and the 750 with the 1. Now it says 500X equals 750. So when I divide that out, because I'm multiplying 500 times X, I need to do the opposite. So I'll divide both sides by 500. That'll leave the X by itself, and 750 divided by 500 is 1.5. When we take a look at the multiple choice options that would be given with this, we see 1.5 hours. So perfect, we've come up with a right answer. But watch out, I don't want you to get confused with something like letter D, 0.5 hours. The issue there is that you might think, well, 1 hour is 500, so I just need to add half an hour to get to 750. That's true, but they want the total. How long total would you have to ride to burn 750 calories? And that answer would be 1.5 hours. Let's take a look at our second word problem. It says the temperature at 6 p.m. was 31 degrees Fahrenheit. By midnight, it had dropped 40 degrees Fahrenheit. What was the temperature at midnight? So in this one, we need to think about our 31 degrees and our 40 degrees. And we need to pay a little bit of attention to the time. The main thing is paying attention to when is midnight, and we know midnight is after the temperature dropped 40 degrees. The 6 p.m. doesn't necessarily matter because we're not measuring the length of time here. So it wants to know what the temperature was at midnight. So we know it started at 31 and it dropped 40. And when we see that word dropped, that means that we're going to subtract that. So all we have to do to get our answer is 31 minus 40, which is -9. We already know this is going to be a negative number because the number we're starting with, 31, is smaller than the number we're taking away from it, 40. So anytime we take away more than what we have, there's a debt. It's a negative number. So in this case, we know there's a difference of -9. All right, so when we take a look at our answer possibilities in our multiple choice, you'll see one that's definitely there to confuse you. We know the answer is -9 degrees Fahrenheit, but there's one that says 9 degrees Fahrenheit. So if we're moving too quickly, we might accidentally forget that negative symbol and click that option. Be careful when you're looking at these options and just make sure that you end up with the right answer with all the details included in it. Our third word problem says, preparing for Memorial Day, the fire department bought candy to throw at the parade. They purchased 40 pounds of candy at $2.15 per pound and X pounds of candy at $1.90 per pound. What is the total number of pounds they bought if the total amount of money spent on candy was $158.20? To solve this, I need to take all the important numbers from here and put them together. So let's start with that there were 40 pounds of candy and each pound cost 215 cents. So to get the total of how much that cost, we need to multiply those together. So we have $2.15 times 40. There's the first part of our equation. Now that's not all the candy, so we also need to add in the candy that they bought X pounds of for $1.90 per pound. And again, we're going to multiply those two things together. Even though we don't know what X is yet, this is still going to help us solve the problem in the end. So we'll have $2.15 times 40 plus $1.90 times X. And all of that we know will equal the total money amount that was spent, which is $158.20. Now with this information, we can solve for X. Okay, so $2.15 times 40 is 86. So we have 86 plus $1.90 times X equals $158.20. Now to get that X by itself, I need to start removing things from the side that the X is on. So first, because we have a positive 86, I'm going to subtract 86 to get rid of it on that side. And I have to do the same thing on the other side. So what first side will just end up with $1.90 times X. But the other side, now that we've subtracted 86 from $158.20, we'll end up with $72.20. So now we need to divide because we have $1.90 times X, and the opposite of multiplication is division. So this will leave X by itself, but when we divide $72.20 by $1.90, we end up with 38. Now, X is the number of pounds. That means they had 38 pounds of the candy that cost $1.90 per pound. So for this one, they're actually asking what is the total number of pounds? So be careful. You'll see that 38 is an option on this multiple choice, but that's not what they're looking for. In the end, they want to know what was the total pounds of all candy, not just the X that we were missing. So that means we have to take the 38 pounds of the $1.90 candy and the 40 pounds of the $2.15 candy and put them together. So total, we have 78 pounds of candy. For our fourth and final word problem, we'll look at this. A circular pool is filling with water. Assuming the water level will be 4 feet deep and the diameter is 20 feet, what is the volume of the water needed to fill the pool? On this side, you'll see some of the formulas that will be available on your formula sheet during the test. I've included the formula for area of a circle and also for volume of a cylinder, which we'll need both of to be able to solve this problem. The reason we need both formulas is because to solve for volume, you need to multiply the area of the base times the height. And we don't yet have the area of the base. So we need to first solve for that area, which is a circle. The bottom of the swimming pool or the top of the swimming pool would be a circle shape. So we need to do pi times radius squared. In this situation, we'll use 3.14 for pi, so our area will equal 3.14 times 10 squared. 10 squared is 100, so now we need to do 3.14 times 100, which is 314. So the area of the base would be 314 square feet. Now to get the volume, we need to multiply the area of the base times the height. To find the height, we need to see how deep this pool is, and our word problem tells us that it is 4 feet deep. So 314, the area of the base, times the height, 4, is 1,256 feet cubed. We use cubed here because for volume, we're measuring not just a square, but a cube of space. So our final answer for the options that you can see here is 1,256 feet cubed. That is the volume of the water needed to fill the pool. Thank you so much for joining me today for this Math Roundtable recap. I hope that you'll follow along by subscribing to our YouTube channel and also checking out the Helms Academy on Instagram, Facebook, and at helmsacademy.org.